Hey, what's up everybody, this is Pebble1, and today I want to show you guys how you're able to get the exotic LMG Pestilence in Division 2. Now this weapon just came out with the title based on update, so it is a really new weapon, but just a heads up, it is pretty much completely useless as a main hand weapon. It does have a decent holster talent, so it does have a bit of uses. And I want to go over how you're able to obtain this weapon, and all the talents and stats and all that type of stuff for it. Now, how you get this weapon is actually really easy and straightforward. You have to kill any named bosses in any of the dark zones. So if you've never done the dark zones, which I hadn't either, basically there are landmarks that keep popping up throughout the dark zones. There always should be one or two up. And doing these landmarks are basically just an area of enemies. And sometime during that landmark, a named boss will spawn, and all the named bosses have a chance to drop this. So that's all you have to do is just go farm those landmarks in dark zones, kill the named bosses, and there will be a chance for it to drop. You can't do them in the dark zones if you want to solo, but you can matchmake into dark zones to get a group for them. It is pretty easy. There's a lot of people matchmaking for it, so you should be able to get a group without much difficulty. Now, I am not 100% certain if this weapon always drops as a contaminated weapon. I think it does because me and the other people in my group that got them during our farming session, they were all contaminated, which means you have to go to an extraction point in the dark zone and extract it via helicopter, and then it'll be sent to your mailbox and you can go pick it back up. Now, this took me about an hour, and I think the average is probably 1 to 2 hours that it takes to get this, so it doesn't take very long at all. It's probably the fastest one to get, so if you need exotic components to upgrade other weapons, this is probably your best bet to do it. So that is all you need to know of how to obtain the weapon. Now I want to go over the talents of it. Now I got super unlucky and got a 499 roll instead of 500. Not too big of a deal. I can always go farm another one because Dark Zone farming is actually pretty good for overall loot. Now, this is an LMG, so it has a 50% damage to targets out of cover. It's 4.2k for me. This weapon is really bad, and the main reason is because the damage is so excessively low. The damage would have to be tripled or more, possibly quadrupled, to make this an actual like usable weapon for your main hand. It just does no damage because it has 550 RPM as well, which I think is an M60 damage. And before World Tier 5, my M60 was doing like 18 or 19k a shot with the same RPM. It does have a 100 round mag, and there's no reason to really use this as a main hand weapon. Now the talents are pretty interesting, but with the just straight damage to this thing, it doesn't make sense to use it. So the first talent is Plague of the Outcast. After hitting the same enemy 20 times, that enemy is inflicted with Plague of the Outcast. Whenever an enemy with Plague of the Outcast is killed, they leave a toxic cloud for 20 seconds that deals 200% weapon damage per second to anyone inside and inflicts them with Pestilence. Now, Pestilence is a debuff that reduces healing by 50% for 10 seconds. Whenever an enemy with Pestilence would be downed, they are instead killed. This debuff is removed if the enemy is repaired to full armor. So basically, you have to hit an enemy with 20 bullets. For some reason, this doesn't work on the targets in the shooting range, which kind of sucks. You can't really test it. But you have to hit them 20 times. They get infected. That does nothing. Now, if someone who's infected dies, they explode into a cloud for 10 seconds that deals 200% weapon damage per second to anyone in Pestilence. Now, that is quite a bit of damage, actually. 200% for 10 seconds is quite a bit of damage, but hitting someone 20 times, then killing them, is not really that useful. I mean, I guess you can with this weapon because it doesn't hit that hard. If they increase the RPM of this weapon really, really high, it might be useful. But right now, it's just not. Even though that cloud does a decent bit of damage, you're basically just losing a ridiculous amount of damage, and that cloud is not going to make up for it. And the fact that it kills enemies that are down instantly makes me think it should be a PvP weapon. But if you're trying to shoot someone 20 times in PvP and then down them and then be like, oh yay, they get insta-kill now, it's not really useful, and they can just full heal to remove the debuff. So it's not really useful in any way. Maybe there's going to be some, I don't know, super clumped up fight in like the raid or something where these are useful and you can do a ton of damage that way, but I highly doubt it. Now, the thing that makes this useful is Outcast Reliance or Resilience. While holstered, gain plus 20% armor for 5 seconds when you are affected by blind, bleed, or burning. Now, this makes you pretty tanky actually, because there is no cooldown on this, and it lasts for 5 seconds. Now, I'm not exactly certain, since bleeds and burnings are damage over time, if it'll keep refreshing that 5 seconds when you're taking that damage, or if it's just the initial hit, and maybe you have to wait 5 seconds, if it'll keep refreshing the timer or not. But there is no cooldown on it. I don't think there's an eternal cooldown that would say if there's a cooldown. So there really isn't a cooldown with this. So pretty much when you're affected by bleeds, burns, or blinds, you're pretty much just 20% tankier for 5 seconds. And especially in PvE, you do get hit by burning quite a bit, blinds decently, all this stuff you get hit by quite a bit. Burning, I usually even sit in a lot of flames and just drop my armor heal below me, and this will just make you be able to survive fire a lot more. There's also some people, some enemies that their fire hits super hard for some reason. This could help you survive while getting in the new cover, while being able to survive, because 20% bonus armor is pretty good. So the holster talent is pretty decent, but that's the only reason this weapon has any use at all. So that is all the talents and how to get the Pestilence exotic LMG in Division 2. Subscribe if you want to see more Division 2 content. Leave a like if you liked the video. Leave a comment down below what you think about Division, what you think about this weapon, and thanks for watching.